The survivors didn't just appear, they were made, is what happens when a person stops being treated like a person. They were once a normal survivor, a mechanic who kept everyone's gear running in the early outbreaks. But after one mission went wrong, they took the full blame. The team abandoned them, leaving them trapped in a collapsing facility filled with malfunctioning drones. To escape, M4CHIN E4 had to rebuild themselves using whatever was left: broken armor plates, servo joints, and damaged robotics. Their body is now held together by steel frames and reinforced cables. Their voice sounds like static over radio, but the mind inside, still human, still hurting. Now M4CHIN E4 fights not for glory but for proof. Proof that they were never the failure. They show up silently in the worst battles, shields flaring, bullets ricocheting off their reinforced skin. They don't speak. They don't celebrate. They just keep going. Jake is the last one standing type, but not because he's the strongest. He's the one who refuses to give up, no matter how bad things get. Before the Forsaken crisis, Jake was just a regular guy who worked late shifts, helped neighbors with small tasks, and kept his head down. He wasn't a soldier or a fighter. No training, no special history. Just someone who cared too much to walk away. When the outbreak hit his town, everyone panicked. Jake didn't. He held the line. He helped strangers climb over fences, covered retreats, and kept the weaker survivors moving. Nobody expected much from him. But when the strong started falling apart, Jake stayed solid. Jake's strength isn't muscle. It's heart. He carries scars, bruises, and pain behind his calm stare. But he doesn't complain. He just loads his gear, tightens his grip, and steps forward. Jake is the kind of survivor who says, "If someone has to do it, I'll do it, even if it breaks him." Turking wasn't always a survivor. He used to be the one people laughed at during early training runs. Too loud, too flashy, too confident in his own royalty. He called himself the king long before he earned anything close to the title. But when the Forsaken Plague hit, something strange happened. Everyone else started to fall apart, and Turking didn't. He adapted fast. His loud attitude became unshakable morale. His flashy style became unpredictable combat movement. And that crown he always joked about? Now it's a symbol, a reminder that confidence can be armor. Turking fights like he's on a stage, spinning, taunting, making the enemy furious enough to mess up. He turns chaos into advantage. But behind the jokes and bragging is someone who knows exactly what losing looks like. He's seen teammates disappear. He's felt silence after laughter. So he keeps the performance going. Because if he stops laughing, the world gets too quiet. What Turking brings to the squad: keeps fear from taking over, draws enemy attention like a magnet, turns every fight into something the team believes they can win. Tao Noob is the survivor everyone underestimated. The name came from day one when he tripped during training, misfired his weapon, and nearly blinded himself with a flashlight. People joked he wouldn't last a single night. They said he was slow, clueless, and way too scared. But fear can teach faster than pride. While others tried to look tough, Tao Noob watched. He paid attention to every mistake, every tactic, every scream, and every silence. He learned how to stay alive the hard way. And slowly, something changed. His aim got steady, his steps got quiet, his reactions got sharp. The squad used to roll their eyes when he spoke. Now they listen. Tao Noob doesn't brag. He doesn't try to be a hero, he just survives. Every time. Even when stronger fighters fall, he keeps going, because he remembers what it feels like to be the weakest. His strengths. Reads danger faster than anyone. Innovator is the team's quiet spark. The one who doesn't raise their voice, doesn't rush, doesn't panic. Instead, they watch the battlefield like it's a puzzle waiting to be solved. Before the crisis, Innovator was an engineer who built gadgets for fun. Nothing dramatic. Just someone who liked to make broken things work again. But when the Forsaken spread, the world broke. And Innovator became one of the only people who knew how to fix anything. Their gear isn't sleek or expensive. It's scrap metal, scavenged circuits, rusted parts, but it works better than anything factory-made. Innovator can turn a radio transmitter into a motion sensor, a lunchbox into a bomb, and a broken drone into a shield. They don't brag. They don't explain. They just nod, tighten a bolt, and say, "Try it now." On the field, Innovator fights with traps, gadgets, and tools no one else understands. While others rush forward, Innovator changes the battlefield itself. By the time the enemy realizes what's happening, they're already boxed in. Innovator's role in the squad: builds devices that keep the team alive when logic says they shouldn't, turns disadvantages into openings, proves that intelligence can be just as deadly as strength. Brawl noob is what happens when a beginner refuses to stop swinging. He never had aim, never had tactics, and definitely never had patience. If there was a door, he didn't open it. He ran through it. If there was an enemy, he didn't study their pattern. He punched first and thought later. At first, everyone assumed he'd be the first to fall. His gear was sloppy, his stance was bad, and he didn't even know how to reload properly. But Brawl Noob had one thing the others didn't. He didn't fear pain. Not physical pain. Not emotional pain. Nothing. While others hesitated, he charged. While others calculated, he collided. And that reckless courage turned into something unstoppable. Every bruise turned into strength. Every loss turned into instinct. Every fall taught him how to rise harder. Now, Brawl Noob is a frontline wrecking ball. He fights like a wild storm, messy, loud, and impossible to slow down. What Brawl Noob brings to the squad: breaks enemy formations by sheer force, absorbs hits no one else could survive. Steampunk comes from a world that tried to fight the Forsaken with gears, pressure valves, and burning steam instead of digital tech. Before the collapse, they were a craftsman, a designer of ornate machines that looked like art but hit with real power. People called their inventions impractical, too heavy, too strange, too old-fashioned. But when modern systems failed, when power grids fell and circuits fried, Steampunk's technology kept working. No electricity needed, only fire, pressure, metal, and patience. Their armor is hand-forged. Their weapons roar like engines. Steam coils around them in battle like a living dragon. Steampunk doesn't rush. Every movement is deliberate. Their strikes land with the weight of old iron and history. The enemy hears them before they see them. The hiss of steam, the click of gears locking, the low rumble of pressure building. People used to call their style outdated. Now they call it indestructible.